to Unsolicited Advice, brought to you by Toxic Bubblegum. I'm Bubblegum.
I'm Toxic.
And this week, we're talking about colors.
Yes, we are celebrating Pride Month with our Rainbow Week podcast.
Because it's gay.
We're gonna do little mini episodes. Each day will be a different color. And then there's this one today where we just talk about rainbows and why we're doing this.
We like rainbows. I like rainbows. If I could have a rainbow on everything I owned, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah.
I'm basically wearing it right now.
I was gonna ask, because I thought that was your life.
I thought
everything was a rainbow.
Pretty much. I mean, I bleed rainbows, basically. I have my pride flag out
bleeding
in
rainbows
the kitchen.
Now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm dead. That's how it goes sometimes.
We've got a quote that we did a lot of stuff to dig up, and then I forgot about it.
Whoops.
So here we go. Where does the rainbow end? In your soul or on the horizon?
This is Pablo Neruda?
Yes.
From the Book of Questions.
Yes.
I have many questions also I could put into a book.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Like, why doesn't my dog think I'm the fun parent?
That's actually the title of Pablo Neruda's first book.
Damn it. You beat me to it. But yes, so, so, starting off, rainbows. Rainbows are good.
Yes.
So, I have some information about how we sort of got the rainbow symbolism,
mm-hmm.
like for, like basically where the pride flag comes from. So, it was designed by Gilbert Baker, for the 1978 San Francisco Gay Freedom Celebration, which was one of, like, the first really big pride things, because it happened close, not super close, but, like, after Stonewall,
mm-hmm.
And everything like that. He said one of his main inspirations was Judy Garland,
really?
who was, yeah, because she was considered to be a gay icon, which is cool. I didn't know that when I was looking it up.
That's interesting.
He was approached by Harvey Milk to create a symbol
mm-hmm.
for the gay community. So the original pride flag had 8 colors, and it had pink, red, orange, yellow, green, turquoise, indigo, and violet were the 8 colors on it. And each has a specific meaning associated with it. So pink stands for sexuality, red is for life, orange is for healing, yellow is for the sun or sunlight, green represents nature, turquoise is art, indigo is harmony, and violet is for spirit. Mm-hmm. So those are the original things that were represented.
It's really interesting, and this isn't our point this week, mm-hmm. so I'm not going to get off into it too much, but it's mm-hmm. interesting that there were 8 colors, because mm-hmm. one of the big reasons why in, like, traditional symbolism, one of the big reasons why indigo is included is because 7 is a number of power.
Huh.
And that's why we're doing, we've got the 7 colors this week.
Mm-hmm. So
what happened to pink?
So pink and turquoise were actually dropped. They were around for a while, but because the fabrics were harder, so the original pride flag, like, they were hand-dyed.
Right.
And the stripes were hand-dyed and then sewn together. But pink and turquoise weren't so easy to get, mm-hmm. so that's where we get our traditional pride flag that everyone sort of recognizes, that just has, it has the red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, and violet.
Right.
So, you will eventually, occasionally also see variations of it that include the 8 colors. There's also a 10-color one that includes black and brown stripes, which are to recognize people of color in the community. And then I also saw an article that was titled "The New Pride Flag Design is a Win for Inclusion, but a Design Disaster." And it was like, so it has the 8 colors, but then it had the transgender colors and the black and brown as, like, triangles on the side.
Oh.
So it was a lot of colors going on. And I was like, I get where you're going with this, but there's a lot going on here.
Right.
And these colors don't all go together.
Inclusive symbolism, too scattered as a color palette.
Right. It's okay. You can do this. I believe in you, designers. But yeah, so that's sort of a little history on the pride flag. Gilbert Baker, died a couple of years ago. It was like, I feel like it was pretty recent still. I feel like it was like maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, he was a cool dude. He did like a lot of stuff. He obviously designed one of the biggest symbols of the gay community as a whole, so like...
That's important.
I guess that's pretty important, something like that. But yeah, so that's the history of the pride flag. You can definitely just like look it up and get like a bunch more into his history and everything, like...
Yeah.
There's tons of queer history there that just nobody wants to talk about, like, mainstream, so, like, look it up and learn.
Yeah.
And be impressed.
Do some research. It's a good month for it.
Right? And wear all your rainbows. I was sad. I was doing a delivery at work today, and I walked into Hollister, and they were, like, giving out, like, free pride pins, but they were all out.
Aww.
It was sad.
That's very sad.
But that's enough about work. We're moving on from that. So yeah.
The other big thing I guess we should mention in just why we're doing this and symbolism and everything, it is prether obvious the reason why we chose 7 colors, the 7-color rainbow interpretation, has less to do with symbolism and more to do with there are 7 days in a week.
It goes together nicely.
We're a little bit more transparent, kind of stuff, I guess. So yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a little harder to find like pink stuff. Also,
yeah,
I feel like it's one of those colors that sort of gets glanced over in like a media thing because like you see it a lot in like marketing and stuff like that, but as a media color,
one day we might cycle back around to this and pick up the colors that we don't hit this week.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah,
we'll
be
many
doing
colors:
red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet.
Yes. So yeah.
And they're, like I said, they're going to be shorter episodes this week. We're just going to touch on the colors in media and then symbolism for them, which is going to be fun. Alan's going to teach us more about pride symbolism throughout the week. It's going to be a good time.
Well, it turns out, and we're not going to get into, like we said, since we're not doing the pink, I'm not going to go into, because one of the other big symbols in the pride community, not that people use, but there's the elephant in the room of the pink triangles. Not going to talk about that.
That's fair.
Because, oh boy, we're not going to do that.
We'll talk about that in the pink episode, because I'm going to be really bitter for it anyway.
I'm the pink one.
Yeah.
So.
And before we move on to recording our actual colors, because we are recording these all on the same day, I want to talk about my media segment for rainbows. I want to talk about the Rainbow Guard.
It's my favorite part of Game of Thrones that I've never read, but I'm mad they cut out of the show.
It's also one of my favorite instances of HBO being really dumb when it comes to pride inclusion.
Right?
So here's the thing. For those of you who have not read A Song of Ice and Fire, Renly Baratheon has, in the books, a Rainbow Guard. The Faith of the Seven is represented also with a rainbow because there's one color that corresponds to each of the gods. Mm-hmm. So when Renly decides to be a king and he's campaigning, instead of having a king's guard with 7 members as like a numerical tribute to the 7, he decides that he's going to have a color-coded guard, which is what he calls Renly's Rainbow Guard. And
Renly's a goddamn treasure.
Renly is just
I'm so sad.
And he's so much better in the books. Like, even with the stuff that they kept in the show, it was better in the books, because Renly's just, like, such a cool dude. But he has, so each of his guards wears a complete, color-coded outfit for their, thing, and it's, Brienne, actually, is the first woman to join any of the King's Guard. She joins the Rainbow Guard as, the Blue Knight, because she's from the Sapphire Isle.
Oh.
So she's, our Sapphire Guard. And it was just, like, a really cool thing. Their capes, like, their armor was color-coded, but their capes was a rainbow. So when they were adapting it for the show, and they did this a lot for aesthetic reasons in other areas, but when they were adapting Game of Thrones for HBO, they decided to get rid of the Rainbow Guard idea, because they thought that the striped rainbow capes was going to look too much like the Pride flag, and they thought that it would offend the gay community.
So they're so fucking wrong.
They just got rid of it. They're like, it's gonna look weird if, like, the first gay character on the show makes everyone wear big rainbow flags.
Clearly, the people at, HBO have never met a gay.
I think that's it.
Because, like, I always am like, how do I make this super fucking obvious?
Right. But that was... Yeah, so that's the Rainbow Guard. It's just, like, a fun little bit of Song of Ice and Fire history that I think is really interesting. They were my favorite part of the... And it would have been really nice, too, because they do... I think Game of Thrones has some of the best representation when they have it, but they don't have enough of it, and Renly wasn't really there on the show all that long, but having something like a Rainbow Guard would have really made him stand out more in the time that he was there.
I'm so sad. I love that Rainbow Guard. Kat told me about the Rainbow Guard, and I about lost my goddamn mind.
And it's like, it's really fun, because it's in the first book that they start the Rainbow Guard thing. It's through Game of Thrones and Clash of Kings, and there's just such a... They followed it so well in so many other aspects, but then they entirely cut out the Rainbow Guard.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest, Game of Thrones is not great at remembering to include all the gay shit in the books.
They also...
Daenerys!
Yeah.
I'm there!
It would have been nice. And it would have been nice if we could have seen, because Renly, it was one of those things where he wasn't, like, a bigger part of the books, but he was hanging around all the time, and he was, like, constantly making fun of people. There's a scene, and it's in one of the saddest scenes in the books. I talked about this for the death thing, because it happens right before Lady dies. But they're, right before they, say that Lady has to be put down, they're having an informal trial in one of the halls to figure out how Joffrey was injured. Right. Because Joffrey's made up a story, and Arya is explaining what really happened, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And they have to kick Renly out of the hall, like, during the trial, because... Joffrey's story is that Arya got his sword away from him and was beating him with it, and Renly's like, how did you let this, like, 90-pound child disarm you? And he just thinks it's the funniest thing, and they have to, like, kick him out. And it was, like, it was comic relief in such a dark time that needed the comic relief, and then they just, like, wrote it out of the show.
Of course!
Because we can't have Renly being fun.
No. We're not allowed to have Renly at all.
The one thing that they did kind of do, and I don't think it justifies cutting out the Rainbow Guard, because it wasn't just the Rainbow Guard, like, the official banner of the Seven is also a rainbow. Right. And, it looks like pretty much if you flipped the Pride flag sideways. Right. Honestly. Because the stripes do go the other way. But, anyway, it doesn't make up for cutting out the Rainbow Guard, but there is a lot more Renly and Loras on the show than what we get to see.
So we get
to books.
They give us a little bit places at a little take and give.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Because in the books, it's one of those things you find out kind of late into it that Renly is gay.
Right.
It's like after he's died, we figured out that he had a relationship with Sir Lors. And literally in the show, when they introduce Renly, he's having sex with a guy. Like, introduction to the show. So it's like...
That's fair.
That was the one upside, I guess.
That's valid.
Of the show.
That's fine.
Because they were cute.
They were cute.
They're like one of my favorite couples.
Why do they keep taking them away from me?
I can't have nice things.
I can't.
So yeah, that's my favorite rainbow thing.
Yeah.
In media.
There's a lot of, just as a general thing, there's a lot of, you don't see it so much in, I guess you do see it in some Western stuff. There's a lot of rainbow color coding in anime, because, any sort of Sentai show is just absolutely, like, literally, Power Rangers?
Yeah.
It's the Red Ranger. It's like, so it's all of that, and then, like, Sailor Moon is also color-coded.
Yes.
And they fight over spectral crystals that are also rainbow-colored. So it's like, you see a lot of it in, like, the group shows. Like, anything that has, like, a squad of people, they usually color-coded, and those usually follow the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah. And it's good.
It is. Now they just need to make it gayer.
That's true. That would be nice.
Yay! Alright.
Yeah.
I think that covers about all the rainbow stuff.
Yeah, that's all of our rainbow-specific stuff.
So...
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, tune in next time we're gonna cover red.
Yes.
Next, and then...
We'll be going in traditional Roy G. Biv order.
Oh, Roy G. Biv. What a card.
That's a fun rainbow thing, is I learned the color... My parents were both art majors. I learned the colors of the rainbow, and I had never heard the term Roy G. Biv before. So, like, while they're teaching us the acronym to try and remember the colors of the rainbow, I was, like, using the colors of the rainbow to remember what Roy G. Biv was supposed to be. Is some of the most backwards learning I've ever had to do in my life.
That sounds about right, though. That sounds like how it works.
Yeah.
Alright, well, we'll see you next time. Or maybe in a couple of minutes. Depends when you're listening to this. Okay, bye.
Bye.